Welcome back to part 2. As you can see, we got our calendar face done now. Now we got to do all the supporting forms behind it. Okay, so first thing we got to do, we're going to put some additional icons up here. Like I told you, we're going to put a couple icons in the upper right hand corner of each box. Now, if you're an admin, you're going to see them both at any given time if they're supposed to be visible. Now, if you're not an admin, the only one you could possibly see is the reoccurring one, which you'll see here in a minute. The add button to the calendar, obviously, because you don't have no edit access, you only got read access as a user, you won't see that add button. Okay, but we got to add them both. So up here, I got the item, the event, the actual event that's in the calendar selected, and I'm on the on select button. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to have to do some actions before we move to the form. Okay, so first action we're going to do is we're going to collect that record and place it into a variable called var_selected_record. And then we're going to set the var_series variable, which is going to tell us if it's a series or not, to false initially. Okay. Now what we're going to do is the very next command is going to say set var_series yes no to if var_selected_record.seriesID does not equal 0, set it to true, otherwise set it to false. And then you're going to go if isAdmin is true and var_series yes no is true, we're going to set the var view mode to edit and navigate to the series screen. Okay, the series screen is the second screen we're going to make in this video. If isAdmin is true and var_series yes no equals false, we're going to go to the single series screen we're going to make. We're going to set the edit mode to edit, or the view mode to edit, and navigate to the single event screen. And if neither one of those are true, then we're going to set the var mode to view and navigate to single event. So it has to be a series to go to the series event. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to build two screens. One, the single event one is going to be for creating new events and or reoccurring events / all day events if they're all day, and editing single events that are not series, they're not got multiple events tied together. Okay, and then the second screen we're going to make is our series one, which will only be an edit, which you won't be able to see. A user won't be able to see that screen because it's in edit mode. Okay, what they'll do is they open up a series. If they open up an event, they're just going to look at one event at a time. Okay, and they'll go look at the properties and click on links as they need to. But nothing will be editable for them. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so as you see, I set this up already. So let's make our first one. Okay, so our first screen we're going to make, well, let's do our icons first. No, we'll save that after the first one because we can't open up the second screen without the icons. But we can build the screen first. So I'm going to collapse that in. We're going to go new screen. We're going to go blank. And we're going to call this single event. And hit enter. Alright. Now, there's two different ways you can make this screen. You can either put a form control on it or you can do a custom form. I'm doing a custom form because I just like custom forms better. Okay. If you are to do a form control, all you have to do is just go to Insert, go to Edit Form, add it, and then connect the data source, and then just set the order the way you want it and everything. So, but I'm not doing that. All right, so we're going to start with our event. Okay, so well, let's put our title screen up first. Okay, or our banner up first. Okay, so we'll put this all the way across. Set our background color to blue. Our text color to white. We're going to center. Now, since there's going to be two different modes to this form, we're going to put a formula up in the text box. Okay, so we're going to go if var view mode equals, whoops, new. I'm going to have it say create new event. And then if it's not new, now if it's view or edit, we're going to have it say event and var selected record dot event, and then we're going to close it. Okay, so because the var edit mode is not new, it's going to say that, but there's no record selected, so it's going to look funky. As you can see, it's blank right now. Okay, the only way this is going to be new is if we, on our icon we're going to make after we get this done with this form, it's going to show it. Okay, so next I'm going to bring in a text label and a text input. Remember, a label is for just putting in your, what it is. It's a read-only thing. You can't change it. Where a text input, you can actually put information in it. Since this is going to be a new form, we got to do it this way. All right, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to go event title, and then I'm going to shrink this up a little. I don't like having controls go on top of each other, so. And then here, for our default input, we're going to do this on every single control we put into this form, okay? Since we're going to have two different modes of this form, you got to take that into account. Sorry about that. I'm downloading some stuff. Okay, so in this formula bar, we're going to put if var view mode equals new, make it blank, otherwise var selected, I can't spell today, record dot event, and close it. Okay, now you don't need to rename all these fields, but it's best if you rename the controls that you put data in, because we're going to need them later. Okay, so let's go ahead and replace this with txt event name. Now I'll put single event name so I know it's on a single screen. Okay, I'm going to hit enter. Alright, now the form we're going to replicate is this one right here. Okay, so we're going to put in all these fields here, which we're going to do this manually, so don't worry. And then down at the bottom here, there is an actual gallery here that we're going to use to generate multiple events if we're doing a reoccurring. Okay, I'm going to pause the video now so you guys don't have to sit there and watch me build the whole thing out. I'm going to pause it. Once I get the form built, once I get everything on the screen, then I will show you how to add the formulas. Okay, I got a lot of the controls in here, and I didn't do any configuration, and I just dropped the controls in here. Okay, of course we're not going to get, I didn't do any kind of configuration, so I just dropped them in here. So it's going to have the wrong items in here, obviously. So, but we're going to go through each one of these one at a time and show you how they're supposed to be configured. Okay, the date pickers are the easiest probably. They're pretty much ready to go as is, except for the start date. Now, if I'm doing a new event, I want the start dates and the end date to be the same. You know, I want it to be the date whichever icon I clicked on, right? So we're going to go in here. We're going to open up our default date. Okay. As you can see, it's set to today. We don't want it set to today. We want it to be, you know, whichever we set it at. Okay. So for right now, we're going to put if var view mode equals new. Oops. New. I'm going to set it to a variable that I haven't created yet, so I'm just going to leave it blank for right now. Put another comma in there. Var selected record dot start date, and then close it. Okay, it's going to give me an error. I know that. Not until I create the thing, and I'm creating the variable on the icon of the add new item. So once we do that, I mean, I already know what the variable is going to be called, but I want to set it first, and I'll come back and fix this. Okay. Starting to think I should have done the icon first. Anyhow, so you know what? Let's do that. Just to make it simpler. Alright, so let's come back here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put an icon in the upper right hand corner of the box. Okay, so we need to select our box. Now see, it collected our rectangle, right? I don't want that. I want the gallery. And we're going to go edit, informal bar. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. We got errors real close to it, so. Alright, once you select the item, we're going to insert icon, and the icon's called add to calendar. So we'll go add to calendar right here. Okay. And of course, that's way too big, so we're going to make this smaller. And we're going to place it in the upper right hand corner of the box. Okay. We can leave it that size, or we can make it smaller. It's 24 right now, so it's good enough for me. Matter of fact, let's clean this up a little. So we'll just make it 25. Make it nice, even a nice number. Okay. Now, only thing you have to set on this is the on select, because, well, no, there's one other thing, but we'll get to that here in a minute. So for the on select, we're going to open this up. First thing we're going to do is we're going to pull the record of that day, right? So we're going to go set var selected record. No, I'm sorry, that's wrong. It is var, just that's not that variable I want. View mode to equal new. Okay, so that's our first variable we're going to assign. Next, we're going to set another variable for our start and end dates, right? Because we want them the same, because you see the dates don't carry over, but that's okay. It'll work just fine like this. Okay, so this is the formula we're going to use. We're going to say var selected start date. Remember, we can't just put dates in here. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go date add first day in view plus the value of the box, and then put it in time unit of days. Okay, so basically we're going to take this date and add whatever number this is. So like if we select let's do something that's easy to figure out here. This one here, that value is going to be 20, right? Because there's 7 in each row, or 28, I'm sorry. So it's going to add 28 to 26 and then figure it up, and then it'll be that day. Okay, so that'd be that's going to be our date we're going to select. And that's literally all you have to set. Why is that angry? Received 1, expected 2. Oh. Okay, I do this a lot. I put equals instead of comma. There, I fixed it. Alright, so what that's going to do now is it's going to set the variable to new, and it's going to set my dates. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's use the button to navigate to our other screen. Oh, I forgot that part. It set the variables, it just didn't go anywhere. So navigate, single event, fade. I always use the fade transition. I think it looks better. Alright, try this again. I personally don't care which one I select. Alright, you notice when I went to here, remember before it just said event, now it says create new event, because it detected that new, right? That variable that tells us what mode we're in. It knows it's new, so as you see, this is blank. So we'll come back here, and now I can fill in var start. Wait, I also don't remember what the damn variable is called. Oh, select the start date. Okay. Okay. See what it did? It changed it to the date that I selected. And that's what you want. Okay. Now for the next box, now another thing we're going to have to do. Oh, let's go back here. I forgot to change the other property of the button, or the icon. We're going to have to go to visible, because remember, we only want admins to be able to hit this button, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the isAdmin thing in here. And oh, I forgot to talk about this. I changed over the flow, so we're using V2 connector now. Go away. So I'm gonna have to change out that formula. So I want to show you what I did though. Now I documented this in the first part, and I put my changes in there before I did the documentation. So I changed over to the V2 connector, as you can see here. I added my 3 variables, so it's easy to tell, you know, what's what when you're putting your variables in versus the way it was before. Other than that, the flow is the same. Okay, I still got this variable here. I still have this variable here. I got my call using the variables from the trigger, you know, my site address, my SharePoint group. But you know, you can tell what everything is easier here, because it says the site address is for the site address. In the URI, you can tell where the SharePoint group goes and where the current user's information goes, so on and so forth, right? And then in here, that didn't change. Nothing in here changed. You know, it says, hey, when version response equals nothing, set it to true. If it goes to true, it means it's false. If it's false, it sets this to true, and then it sends the same variable back to Power Apps. Okay. So in here, what I'm going to have to do is go back to the app on start, and I'm going to have to rearrange the order, right? So up here, you'll see this looks confusing as hell, but it's not, because what it does, it tells you what each thing's for. Okay, the text is for the site address. So I'm going to grab my site address and put it first. So we'll cut it here, enter, paste. All right. Second thing is our SharePoint group. Okay, so I'm going to cut this, put it here, comma, and then you got your third thing. Here, let's get, oh, it's the comma that's throwing it off. Alright, so, and the third thing is current user. And the current user's email address needs to go in there, right? So now it's all done. So if we go ahead and run on start, our admin box should pop back up. Did we not put an admin box in here? Oh dang, we didn't, did we? Okay, we need to fix that. That's my bad. Alright, so let's go ahead and fix that real quick. So I'm gonna click in the banner, or the menu bar, as I call it. We're gonna put a text label in there. Put it over here like this, and move it over a little more. Alright, I want it to say admin. Okay, this is just basically gonna say, if you see this box, it means you're an admin. Okay. Make it like 20, and then I'll make it bold. We'll center it. I'll make the color white. Background color I'll make black. I want it to stand out. Okay. There's our admin box. Alright. Now, we want it to show up only if that person's an admin, right? So you're going to go down to the visible. Change this to is admin. And boom. Now, since I'm an admin, it shows up, and you notice all my buttons showed up. Okay. See, now it's working. Alright, so let's go over here. I'll test it. Now, for the hours and minutes and AM, PM, there's no simple way of doing it. Okay, so you just got to manually put it in here. So in the items, we're going to put a square bracket, and then we're going to create a manual table by using the square brackets and text, and separate by, you know, it's delimited by commas. Now you'll notice I put 00 in there and 12. You know what? I'm going to take the 00 out. It can be in there and it doesn't affect anything, but I'm going to put a blank. I'm going to put a blank space in there instead of the 00. The 00 is just a placeholder. But you know, because we're doing AM PM, 00 is not a time, an hour. If you're doing, you know, 24-hour clock, then you put 00 through 23. It'll do the same thing. So that's our hour figure, right? Now for the minute, it's the same thing. You're going to go into the items. We're going to get rid of that, and we're going to put in 0 through 59. And then in the front of 00, I'm going to put another double quote and a comma, which will give us our blank value. Okay. And on the last one, it's going to be same thing. Put 3 things here. AM, PM. So when you select something, you know, you got 1 through 12, 0 through 59, and then AM, PM. Okay, I went ahead and added it to the other side as well. So that way they're the same. Okay, now the tricky part of this part is the setting of the hour, minute, and AM and PM is kind of hard because you have to kind of dictate all the situations that you could possibly run into when it comes to those boxes. Okay, the date picker is easy. You just do date value, boom, it's in there, right? But now you got to look after the. Now, if you actually looked at a date time value in SharePoint, it's the date, then the letter T as in tango, and then it goes the 2-digit hour, colon, 2-digit minute, colon, 2-digit second, and then AM, PM after the end. Okay, so what you do with that is you just got to tell it how to set up. Okay, so for what we're going to do here is we're going to select our hour drop down box, right? We're going to go over here to our default property. We're going to get rid of this, and I'm going to paste in this formula. Now remember, I documented this in my, if you go in the comments, there's a link in there, it has a PDF, has all these things in there. Okay, so two things come into play here. I haven't named these these toggles yet, so that's why these is underlined. But it says if var mode view does not equal new and the all day event toggle is false, which means it's off, it's going to look at the length of the selected record.start date and take the hour value of it and look at it and count the characters, each individual number. If it has less than 2, it's going to put a 0 in front of it and then put the hour there. Otherwise, it's just going to put the hour. Okay, because it won't work. It won't look right when it's done because it won't populate in here. Because remember, all our single-digit numbers have a 0 in front of it. Okay, so we need to put that 0 in front. Now, if the all-day event is true, it's going to put 0, 0 there in this place. Okay, because what's going to happen is we're going to set the all-day. When we set the all-day event, we're going to set this to 0001 AM, and over here it's going to set it to 23:59 PM. So it truly is the whole entire day except for like 2 minutes, right? Now, and also what we're going to do is we're going to set all these drop downs to disabled when we're done. Okay, we're not going to do that to the end. Okay, I want to make sure this is understandable by everybody so it's easier. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to name our all day event so that way we get rid of this error. So we're going to go to this toggle. Let's close this up so I can get to my name, and we're going to paste it in there and hit. That's our new all day event, right? Okay, and as you can see, our error went away. So now it's going to work. Okay, for the minute is pretty much the same as the hour. Okay, we're going to go in here, go up to the default, and then replace the default setting with this. Okay, same thing. If var view mode does not equal new and the toggle dot value equals false for all day event, and then it's going to say if length of minute, select instead of hour it says minute, of the start date equals 0, put 0, 0. If the length of the minute of the start date is equal to 1, we're going to put a 0 in front of it and then put the thing. And then if the toggle says all day event, we're going to put 0, 1. So it's going to go, it'll say 0, or it'll say 1, 0, 1. Okay. Right now it's blank, so it ain't gonna put anything. Well, it's new mode anyway, so this whole thing is disregarded. Now for the AM PM box, it's going to be a little different, but it does the same basic thing. what it's going to be doing is it's going to be looking for the AM or PM in the time. Okay, so we're going to go to the default property. We're going to replace what's there with this. Okay, it says if var mode does not equal new, and then it goes if it can find AM and the selected record.start date, put AM. If it finds PM, put PM. And then if it says all day event, that should be PM, not AM. Or wait, no, that's right. This is the start date. I keep thinking I'm moving over to the end date already. So it says AM because this is going to be AM, this one's going to be PM for the all day event. Okay, and you're done with this side. Now I'm going to pause the video and I'll go ahead and copy those values. I'm going to go ahead and set the values on the other side as well, so that way it shortens the video a little bit. Okay, I went ahead and moved over the to the other side over here. So now once you set the all day event, watch what it does. It sets at 12:01 a.m. to 11:59 p.m. So like I said, 2 minutes are not covered. Who cares, right? Unless they're really that picky, you can set this to 00 and set this to 12 o'clock a.m., which is going to be confusing because they're going to say the same time. And then you'll have to make this say the next day. This way it keeps it all within one day. I don't know why this one. Let me check something. Did I forget? Oh, I forgot to copy it over. Okay, so what I do is I keep it keep the days, the default days from not being different, which you need to really do that because it doesn't. You can't do crossover. There we go. Now they're the same. Because in your calendar, it won't form one bar going across days. Okay, because it's a gallery. Okay, so what you got to do is, what I tell people to do is, if you got reoccurring events and they're multi-day events, I would just do 1 day a week, do 7-day interval, and then just put them together. Just call them the same name. Just keep everything the same, and it'll have the same effect. It just won't be connected. I mean, you could probably make it look really connected if you got the days really close together on the calendar on the first page, but that's just playing around with it. Okay, so let's continue on with this form here. Alright, so we got this set. Now when you turn this back off, it'll revert back to its default settings, which is blank. Okay, now if this is an edit form, like you click on the event and open this up, open up a single event, and it brings this up, it will put the details from that record in here. Okay, and when you click all the event, it'll flip it to the numbers, and if you click it back off, it'll put it right back to where it was. Okay, now event category. Now if you set up a choice column on in your SharePoint list, you can do this a couple different ways. Okay, you can control from the form, you can control what things go in here, or you can just pull the ones from SharePoint. Okay, so if you go choices, square bracket, and square bracket, @ symbol, your data source. That is my data source, right? Yeah, calendar view. Why is it not coming up? Now you got it. Oh, I know why. You have to type it exactly. The IntelliSense ain't gonna work like this. Okay, and then go square bracket dot. Oops. Dot category, and then close the brackets. Oh, I know why it's not working. I forgot to put the first angle bracket. Alright, so fairly certain I did this right. Oh wait, I think I gotta put apostrophes around the name. because it's got a hyphen in it. There we go. Now, as you can see, it brought the choices in, but as you can see, it defaults to something, right? Now, the way you get rid of that is if you go into the Advanced tab of your control, or you can do it in the properties over here, but it's easier over here because they're together. Reset, you're going to click into the box, double click, type true in little letters, come down to the allow empty selection, put true in there as well. Now it isn't going to fix it immediately. Okay, so a lot of times what I'll do is I'll just insert a button just to make sure it'll clear, just temporarily. Just put one down here or something like that. Let's go ahead and name this to GRP category. Okay, and then you're going to go on the button. You're going to go reset, because we're trying to reset a control, right? DRP category, and close it. And then hold Alt down and click the button, and as you see, it clears. Now, but yet it still maintains all its drop-down properties. Okay, and that's how you make it. And at this point, we don't need this button anymore, so we can just delete it. Okay, so that's our category. Now, for event POC, we're going to need to set a couple properties in here. First thing we want to do is on our items, we're going to get rid of combo sample, and we're going to type if we'll change the name later here in a minute. Combo box 1 dot search. Why did I put an H there? Search text. Whoops, forgot to put his blank in front of it. Man, this hesitation is really driving me crazy. Is blank. Okay, we're encapsulating it. You need both things. Okay, you can use is blank with the control, but we're looking at a particular property inside that control. So we're saying when search text is blank, is not blank. I don't know why I did that. Okay, you want something in there. What we're basically doing is we're telling it not to run the search command unless it is blank. Otherwise, if it's blank, it's going to throw an error. Okay, so you can't search against a blank data. So we're going to go Office 365 users dot search user. You can use V2 if you want. Search user works fine for me for this. Then you're going to go search term, and then you're going to put self dot search text. Then you're going to close the brackets. Then you're going to close the parentheses, and you're going to close the second parentheses. No errors, so I did it right. Alright, so basically what you're doing is, when you click in here, if there's a blank value in here, it will not do the search yet. When you start typing, it will search and give you some results. Okay? You want to set it up this way, otherwise it's going to give you errors and it's going to drive you crazy and you ain't going to know why it's giving you those errors. Okay? So if I run this form right now, you see when I go in there, oh, here's one thing you gotta watch out for. I did forget to set up one other thing on here. Is you'll notice in your properties, allow searching turned itself off. When you type that command in there, for some reason it turns it off. Just turn it back on. And also you want to turn off allow multiple selections unless you want more than one name in there. Okay. And the other thing I always forget to do is the fields. Okay, by default it puts city in there. I don't know why Microsoft decided to put city in there as default, but that's just weird to me. 90% of the time you're either looking for your email address or your display name, right? So let's go in here. Well, let's change this to person first. And then we're going to change this to display name and change the search field to display name. Search field is what we're actually doing. I wish they'd turn this image on, that'd be cool, but that's okay. It'll work just the same. Okay, now we'll go run again. And I can type my name in here. And it should resolve it. Boom, there it is. Okay, so that's working. Now let's go. One other thing I want to fix is what it says when it's blank. Okay, right now it says find items. I would rather it say enter name, because that's what it is. It's we're entering our names, right? So I'm gonna go in here. I'm gonna remove my name and my search. See what it does? It says enter name now. So it tells you what it's for. Okay? Now, I did not put the field in here for the event join link. Okay? There's a reason for that. It is a modern, I use a modern control here. Okay? This is where I think the modern control fits this purpose better. You can set up a hyperlink. You can put an HTML text here, but it's wonky. The link test is more straightforward and it's simpler to set up. Okay. So what we do is, you'll notice when you open up the insert by default, there's no modern controls here. Okay, so you need to go to your settings. I believe it's in upcoming features, and if you go towards the bottom and start working your way back up, you'll see modern controls, and it's turned off. Where is it? Oh wait, I think it's on display. I'm sorry. Nope. Maybe it's in general. I'm trying to remember where everything is. Okay. There it is. Modern controls and themes. Okay. All you have to do is turn it on, and you'll see it turns itself on pretty fast. You don't even have to restart your app. Okay. So you hit close. The reason it's popped up because, hey, give you a more modern theme. Okay. So now if you go under insert, you'll notice there's modern controls. Alright, I use the link modern control for this. Okay. So you come down here and then you just drag it down to where you want it. Okay, it says link by default. Alright. There's only two fields you have to mess with this. I don't even rename it because I don't push these properties. Okay. This is simply for display and for clicking on. Okay. What you store on SharePoint is a container that we're going to create here in a second. Okay. Only two values you're really going to mess with are these two right here. Okay. The text is the name of the display name that's shown in the box, and then the URL is where you want the link to go. Okay. It's kind of like a hypertext control of some sort. But it works well for what we need it for here. Okay. Now, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to insert an icon to trigger this container we're going to make here in a second. So I'm going to go back into Classic. I think it's called Link. Yep. The link icon, and I'm going to put it on my screen here, and I'm going to move it just somewhere here. We're gonna make it dynamic, but for right now, this is good enough for me. Okay. Now that works. Okay. Now all it's going to do is going to set a variable. Okay. So we come up here. We're going to go set var show invite link. True. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that variable name, so I don't have to go back and look for it again. And now we're going to create a container. Okay, the container is only going to have 2 fields in it, but we got limited space on this paper, so I use containers to create pop-ups to do that. So you're going to go into the insert menu again. We're going to collapse up input, and we're going to open up layout, and we're going to go down to container. Okay, container is just a screen that you can resize basically. So I'm going to put it right here. We'll make it a little bigger, just have some more real estate to play with. I'm going to give it a light blue background. It gives it some 3D ability. Okay. And then we're going to insert a text label for our title. Come on. And like I said, I'll make, I like my blue. So I'll make blue, white, center, bold. We'll do like 25. Then we'll say create input link. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to insert a couple text labels so we know what each of the boxes are for. Okay, this one's going to be link display name. And then we're going to put another text label in here. And this is going to be our link URL. Okay. Let's put a colon at the end of that one. I'll put a colon at the end of this one. It's just so we have some kind of fluidity here. Okay. Next, we're going to do is put in two text inputs. Okay. Because we want people to be able to type, right? So we'll put that one there, and then we'll put this one here. And then we're going to need a save button, which it won't really be a save button. It'll just be a button to close this thing. Come on. All right. We'll just say save and close. All right, and then in the onSelect, we're going to go set the variable name false initially. We're going to put a patch function in here too, but I don't want to lose what I got in the clipboard right now because it's got that variable name in there. I just want to get this part set up. All right, so by default, I don't want anything in these boxes, so I'm just going to go in here and delete these entries out. Okay, and then on the whole container, I'm going to go to my visible property by clicking on visible, and I'm going to set the variable here. When you just put the variable name in there, it says if it's true. You'll notice since it's blank, it's not true, so it disappears. Okay, so now when you click on this link here, boom, it opens up. You click save and close, it closes. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to patch. We got two fields. Remember I told you at the end of the view you've seen the link display name and link URL. This is where we save it. And then I got an invite link on SharePoint as well that I'm going to say what I'm going to do is I'm going to combine these two pieces of data into an HTML text format and save it to SharePoint as well. So that way if someone goes on SharePoint and clicks on the link, it'll actually work. Okay, so you open up the button, We're going to bring it down a little bit. Not all the way. We're going to do a patch statement. Ooh. Our data source. I probably should have picked a different name for the name on my list. There's a calendar function on here that shows up way before my stuff does. Okay. Now, actually, I just saw something. Since this can do more than just. Will you quit hesitating? Oh my god. Alright. So, we're going to go if var view mode equals new. Now you'll see why I put this in here in a second. Comma. We're going to go for the record, we're going to put defaults. Well, you know, speaking of which, I'm not going to do it this way. When I do the final submission at the end, I'll probably put it in there instead of doing it this way. I'm just going to patch. If it's in edit mode, I'll have it updated here. So our record will be var select record, and then we'll put curly braces to create a record. Whoops. First thing is going to be link display name, and I forgot to rename my fields. All right, so this will be txt single link display name, and then this one will be txt single link URL. Alright, let's go back to our save and close. So this will be txt single link display name dot text comma link URL txt single link URL dot text and then we're going to do link invite. Now here's where the HTML comes in. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to put double quotes. Now remember, anything typed double quotes is hard coded in. Okay, we're going to go href equals single quote. We're going to close our double quotes, go and now we're going to put our link URL first, right? So we're going to go txt single URL and then go and double quotes single quote. We're going to close out the tag. Then we're going to double quotes again and txt single display name, because remember, in between our two, you know, the closing tag and our close of our initial tag, you put your label in between them. Okay. Whoops. Then you go and double quotes, close our tag, whoops, double quotes. Okay. And then we close our patch statement. Oops, forgot one. Forgot the curly bracket. All right, and then you close our thing. All right, so only when it's not new, it's going to patch this information in, because we want it to update the sheet, right? Because when it's new, there's nothing there. I mean, it'll still update, but at least it'll be saved on SharePoint if it's an edit form. If it's new, it's not on SharePoint yet anyway, so it just doesn't matter. All right, and then we close the link. Okay, so let's just put some information in here just so there's something in here. So remember, we can't just use Alt for this if we're typing. So I'm gonna just call it my custom link. We'll put https army.mil. I'll just go google.com, screw it. Okay. Now once you hit save and close, oops, I forgot to put the navigate command in there. Oops, I knew I forgot something. Oh, plus I forgot to put if var view mode does not equal new. Oops. So it'll ignore this command if it's new. Alright, I forgot to put that in there. And then, oops. Am I missing a, oh, I am. Navigate. No. No, that's right. The way I had it. Forgot I'm using a variable open close is not. Why is it still? It's still getting angry, so let me look at this real quick. This shouldn't take that long to figure out. Closes my patch. Oh, I did it again. I forgot to put the text behind here. It needs to know what kind of data I'm passing, so because it's just a control. That's probably what initially threw the initial error. Alright, there we go. That went away. Alright, so we're going to hit save and close. Since it's new, it's not going to do anything. Now I can configure my link thing here, right? So in here, we're going to go text, and we're going to change this link thing here to txt single display name dot text. Man, my computer hiccuping is really driving me crazy. Alright, so you see it already changed the name in here, but there's no link there yet. So we got to go to the URL here, and we're going to put txt single maybe what the hell just happened? My computer is being crazy right now. Come on. txt single URL dot text. Fine. Geez, you don't want to type? Then don't type. Alright. So right now it doesn't look like anything, but if I hit Alt and hold it down, I hover over it, see what it does? So this will work just like this, but nothing's been saved yet. So if I actually leave the screen and come back, nothing will be here. Alright, so we got that set up. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to set up describe the event. Okay, it's another container because it takes up a little space. So let's go ahead and set that up. So we're going to select the button. We're going to set a variable in here. Okay, so we're going to go set var show description true. Whoops. Okay, and that's all we're going to do in here. Next, we're going to go ahead and set up our container. So we're going to come in here, go down to layout again, going to go container, bring it down a little bit. We're going to open it up just a little bit so we have some real estate to play with. And then we're going to change our color to light blue like we did the other one. We're going to insert a label for our title banner. We'll put please describe all details of the event below. Okay, so let's make our background color dark blue. We'll make this white. We're going to center it. We're going to bold it. And I'll make it like 25. Okay. And the only thing that's going to be in here is one control. Okay, we're going to insert a rich text editor. Okay, so we're going to input. And we're going to put a rich text editor in here. So I'm just going to kind of just position it however you want it. Okay. And then I always take this out because it doesn't need to be there. And you just click in there and start typing. What's nice about the rich text editor is you can bold stuff, you can make it italics, you can underline it, you can put links in here. You can click this little ellipse here. And it'll open up, you know, you can erase formatting, get rid of links, add links. You can do a lot of stuff in here. I think you can do everything that a rich text can do on SharePoint except add pictures. I mean, if you really want to add pictures, you can accommodate the request if you want to. Just use the image control, but this is mainly for just text type stuff. And then I'm going to make this just a little bigger because I made the box too big. I can't put my button in there now. Alright, so next thing we're going to do is we're going to add a button so we can close it. And we're going to basically call it the same thing. This thing hesitating, it's hard to get it to do anything smoothly. So we're going to go save and close again. And on select, we're basically going to do the same thing we did in the other one. Okay. So what I'm going to do, first I'm going to put my variable in here first. I forgot to save it, didn't I? Well, I know it started with show, so show description, set it to false, close it. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and close the, oh wait, I got to set my visibility on here first. So we'll go visible, put our variable in there. Show description. Alright, so I'm gonna grab the code from this button because they're virtually the same except for these fields in here. So I'm gonna grab all of this. I'm going to close this out, and then we're going to open up this here, and then I'm going to paste it in here. Okay, so we're going to do this part first. We're going to set our description to box we didn't name. Rich text. Single description. And I can't spell. Okay, we're going to set this dot, and you'll notice it won't be just text. It's going to be HTML text. Did it save right? Yeah, it did. So why did it give me an error? So it stops being stupid. There it goes. Now it's working. Alright, we're only setting one field, which is this right here. Okay, only if it's new, or if it's edit, I mean. So if it's new, it's just going to close. Okay, so once we do that, we hit close, and it closes up. That part's done. Okay. Alright, I just remembered I didn't put any default values for these two boxes up here, so we're going to go back and do that real quick. So for here, it's going to be basically the same as the ones before. You know, we're going to change our defaults to if var view mode equals new. We're going to set it to blank. Otherwise, we're going to set it to var select record dot category. And then we're going to close it. I think because it's a choice column, we got to put it in as a value. Expecting a text value. Oh, I know why. I don't know why I did that. Since it is a drop down, you got to put dot value at the end of this, or it's not going to work. Okay, that one's done. That's the easy one. This one over here is a little more difficult because of the way it works. We're using a combo box search tool thing to get the name to pop back up in there, right? It's got to come back as a record. Okay. Jeez. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go to our default selected items. Okay, there's a default and then there's a default selected item. It's got to return a record no matter what. Okay, so we're going to start the same way. So we go if var view, wow, I can't type. Var view mode equals new. To come back as blank. Actually, we'll just do this because it's looking for a record, right? Otherwise, we're going to go here, value, and then we're going to convert our email address into a display name, right? So we need Office 365 users. So we go Office 365 users dot user profile and then we're going to use that var select record in there, and I think I called it training coordinator. This is why it's important to use the names that they're similar to what's in here, so that way it's easier to remember. Okay, now that's a text value by itself, so we don't have to do any of that. And then put dot display name, and then close the record. Then close your function. Okay, since it's a new item, it puts a blank record in there. Now, if this was an edit item, which you'll see later, it should draw that email address back and give me the thing. Now, when I do my submission, I'm going to take that email address of that person and I'm going to save it to SharePoint, because the email address can be converted to anything inside the user profile service. All right, so that's done. So now I should be able to call back up. All we have left on this form is the reoccurring. Okay, the reoccurring is going to be it's going to have a combination of 4 or 5 fields that you're gonna put in there what you need, and then what it's going to do, it's using that information along with what's up top. It's going to build out multiple events. It's going to, however many events you specify, up to 20. Okay, you can't do more than 20 because it makes it unstable. Okay, I added all the required fields that we needed. Now we just got to configure them. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is I'm going to set the visibility property. Okay, these labels right here already have the visibility property already set, so I'm going to grab that value and then I'm going to select all these. Okay, all these will only be visible when this is turned on. Okay, so we're going to go in here, set it. Now if I turn this off, they'll disappear. That's what we want. Okay, now number of occurrences. Okay, now on the unvisible of the screen, you got to set a number collection. Okay, so we're going to go to the screens on visible. Now there's a difference between on visible and visible. Okay, every object inside Power Apps has a visible property. On visible is strictly for screens. Okay, so when the screen comes up, we want it to execute these commands, right? So I'm going to get rid of this one because I don't know why that put that there. All right, so the first thing to do is going to create a collection. Okay, it's called number collection. It's what we use to loop through. So whatever you select here, it will loop through the numbers until it gets to that and it'll stop. Okay, that's how we tell it how many times to loop. Okay, and then my series ID should be not that. Okay, since I'm using it for 2 different purposes, I got to do it this way. So I'm going to put an if statement in here. So go if var view mode equals new. I don't want to keep forgetting to capitalize that N. We're going to run this command. Okay. So basically what it's going to do, it's going to go to the SharePoint list and look at the series ID column, find the highest number, and then add 1 to it. Now, if it's not new, we want the series ID to be set to our select var select record dot series ID. Okay. And then we'll close it out. Received 3, expected 2. Okay. Oh, I know what I did wrong. I close out the set command. And then for our default action, we're going to go var series ID and close out this. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Okay, there we go. And we're setting our, so we're doing 2 things here. We're setting this number collection to 1 through 20. And then, so now let's go back to main. We want it to run. Okay, we want to create the collection because the collection is going to feed this drop down. Okay, since the collection is a table and a drop down is a table, it'll work perfectly. So all I gotta do is put number collection there, and boom, it's set. Now, because it has a default value in there, I'm going to see it goes 0 to 20. Okay. We probably get rid of 0, but so the default, we're going to set this to blank. Okay. And then I'm going to come down to here to advanced and do like we did earlier. We're going to go true, true. Okay, we're going to go back to our main and then back to single event. It didn't reset it. I'll leave it at 0. That's fine. Alright, so next one here is we're going to steal the minutes table just so I don't have to type everything out, but I'm going to do frequency events. I'm going to go up to 31. Okay, so I'm going to grab. So we're going to grab everything up to 31. Okay, paste that in there. I'm going to get rid of the 0, 0. We don't need that. And then I'm going to close it off. So that way, if we set our next item is going to be the inner, the inner increment. So it's going to be days, months, and weeks, or make days, weeks, and months. So this way, if we select days, we got 0 to 31, or 1 to 31. And over here, we're going to set, oops. Oops, I missed one. So the first one will be days. This will be weeks. And this will be months. Now you got to make sure you get these labels right, because when we put our formula on our generate occurrences, it's got to match. Okay? So when we select, whichever one we select, it's going to combine these two things together. Okay? And then this one, depending on what we're going to do, is use a formula to determine what that date is. Okay, for this, right now it's set to today's date. We don't want today's date, we want it whatever date you have up here, right? Or if there's stuff already here, because if you're on the edit side, we want it to be the next date after the series, right? So we're going to get rid of this. I'm going to paste this in here. So what it's going to do is it's going to count the rows, which is the gallery number. I don't have a gallery yet, so let's go ahead and put a gallery in here so it has something to work off of. So we're going to put a vertical gallery in there, and it's going to just be one. It's going to look like a SharePoint list. Okay. So we're going to insert. Let's insert a blank vertical gallery. So let's go on the layout. Oh, it's in preview. We're going to do a blank vertical gallery. Let's move it down to the bottom here. And then we'll move this over here like so. Okay. Now this is gallery 1. So if count rows gallery 1 dot all items equals 0. So basically it's going to count gallery 1 and see how many items are in it. If it equals 0, it's going to use the start date, which is not changed yet. So let's go DTE single start date. Okay. We're going to grab that, go back to our date picker, change this to that, and then we need to name this to DRP single interval because we're going to have to set this stuff up later. Okay. DRP single number interval, and then DRP number of occurrences. Okay, and then we'll change this to date single start occurrences. Okay, so come back up here. Let's see, max all gallery 1 item start date plus 5. Okay, so this is not right. So I need this number right here. So let's grab that. Go back here. To figure out why. Oh, I ain't got a data source on here yet. Alright, so that's about as far as I can go with that. Okay. Now, this is going to have to get tied into our thing. Okay. So, say it's new, it's not going to have anything in here. So for our items, what we're going to do is we're going to tie it into our SharePoint list, right? So we're going to go filter, because we're not going to show everything. Calendar view calendar, or series ID equals series ID, and close it. Now we want to put some sorting in this because we want, in case that the stuff isn't saved the same. So we're going to go sort by probably, we'll do it by the start date. And then we'll do sort ascending and close it. Okay. Now we don't have any fields in here, but we don't really need it yet. We can do that last. Okay. Now, when we look in here now there's no errors. Because now it's got stuff to target to. See, like, the last error it was thrown was this right here. It didn't know where the start date is coming from. But now it has a column to target. Okay. Since it's a new, there's nothing in here, it's grabbing this date and pulling it down here. Okay. Now, we got it to, we're going to work on this button. This button is the whole key behind the whole system working with the recurrences. Okay. Alright, so we're going to go into our button here. We're on select. You just might as well open it up all the way because there's a lot. This formula is really large, and we'll go through it just to make it easy. All right, now, okay, don't be shocked. It's just all the names are wrong. I have to go through and fix all the names. So I'm gonna close this up a little bit. All right, so the new event and interval is going to be this right here. Okay, or no, I'm sorry, this right here. So you're going to grab this box here, get the name, click on your button. You're going to be doing a lot of back and forth unless you copy these to like a notepad or something. Okay, you're going to put that in there, and then you're going to do that on each section of the switch command. Okay. When you're correcting these, you need to correct them in each place. So you ain't copying and pasting a lot. Okay. Now we'll go back up to the top again. Alright, so it's going, okay, it's saying when this equals that. Now we're going to do the number collection piece. Okay, this is your number occurrences. Okay. So you're going to be, this is going to be your text, single, Oh, it's not text, I'm sorry. It's DRP single variable number. Oh, it started with number, not single. Alright, so there's number of occurrences, so we're going to have to do that in each one of these as well. Okay, so you're going to go down. Inside. And you're going to do that for each one. Okay. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and pause the video. All I'm going to do is, when I get them all changed, I'll show you. But essentially what we're doing is we're going to change these values to what they are supposed to be here. And then inside the patch commands, these are all your fields you're going to update in SharePoint. And it's going to replicate them in each occurrence. Okay, so I'm going to pause my video real quick and then we'll continue on after that. Going through the formula for the button, I realized I forgot to put a variable earlier in this form. On the custom link here, we need to go back into the container for the thing here. Oh, we need to put this back on top. So sometimes that happens. The container will drop to the bottom when you add new stuff. So you just gotta make sure you bring it, bring it to the front again. Interesting why this is up here like that. It's part of the gallery. Anyhow, on the button here, you need to put a variable in here for when you're doing a new item. So we'll put it right here. We'll go set var new link info. And it's literally going to be this. There we go. Okay, so there's that. Close this back up. Save and close. Alright. Then back to our button. Okay, I went through and got all the errors fixed in the button here. Basically, I just replaced all the names because the names were just different than on my other thing. I probably should have just made all the names the same, but so as you go through here, you got a switch command that works off the, here, let me bring this back up a little bit so we can see. Alright, these are the ones I only really need to show you stuff. This drop down right here is this one right here. Okay. And it's saying when this equals days, weeks, or months, it'll determine which set it runs. Okay. The patch command is the same for all three. Where the differences lie are one, how the number collection is used and the calculation of the dates. Okay, you'll notice this this part right here is pretty universal. Okay, but then when you get down to this part here, which says this plus this record value, this record value is that value in that whichever loop it's in. Okay, so like if it's on the number 2 loop, you know, the 0, 1, 2, 3, whatever, it's on the 2. It takes this, adds that number, and then times it by the value of this. Okay, so if it's in the days, it'll just do single. If it's weeks, it'll be 7. If it was weeks, it'll be 4. And then it goes through and sets your date to the appropriate date as it loops through everything. Now, with the weeks, it does the same thing. Trying to see where the difference is here. This value times this. Okay, I went through this to make sure. I knew something didn't look right. The difference between the days, weeks, and months. Days, it's just got the plus record value times value of this number here, and that's it for the days. Now if you use weeks here, you're basically doing the same thing, except you're multiplying that value by 7. And then for months, you're timesing it by 31. Okay, so that's how it works. And then, but other than that, all the patches are the same. It just looks really long. It's one command repeated 3 times with one minor change in each one. So that's it. So now it's time to test this to make sure it works. Okay. So we'll go ahead and play the app. We'll do a title. We'll say, we'll call it test method 1. Okay. We're going to do 2 tests. We're going to do this one, and then we're going to do one just with 1 occurrence. Okay. You know, a single event. But I want to test the reoccurring event first. Oh, wait, I forgot to do one thing. So we need to set up the galleries here, but there's no fields. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump over on my other app and grab all the fields and bring them in. They should be the same. So we'll pause the video so I don't use a lot of time up because it's already too long as it is. Okay, I went ahead and copied them in there. I also changed the template size to 30 because it doesn't need to be that big. Okay, so first box we got our ID. Second box is the event name. Then the start date, end date, and then the training coordinate, the POC name that was in here. I think that's, whoops, nope, there's another one in there. And then our series ID. So whatever the series ID is supposed to be, that's what it is. Okay. And because it's blank, it's going to be invisible for the most part. So let's run this app again. Okay, we're going to do it on, we're going to change the date to somewhere in December. So we'll do like the 7th. Okay, we'll pick the 7th. Just like I said, make sure the same dates here. Now you can set it up so that way there's no way they can have different dates in here. So like whenever you put a date in one, you can make the other one change to it and then disable both of them. Or disable the other one so that way it can't be different. It's up to you. Alright, so we'll make this event 10 o'clock in the morning. So we'll go 10 a.m. and say it's a 2-hour event. Okay, so we'll We'll make this one 12 p.m. Okay. We'll say this is we'll just call it an event. I'm going to put my name in there as the POC. Why is it not clicking in there? Okay, there it goes. Now, if you come across this thing when you set it up and it's working and then all of a sudden it's not working, like when you go to click in it and nothing happens, check that allow searching option. Usually it turns off for some reason. It turns off random sometimes, so you gotta watch it. Alright, we already got a link in here. Alright, so we ran into this again, so now you gotta go back and that's why you should do your containers last. Alright, so I'm on the container. We're going to reorder to front. Y'all should name these things too. So we'll just say CTR description. And then this container, I believe, was my link invite. So I'll go CTR link invite. Well, you know what things are. And then this gallery, call it gal single occurrence. Okay. Alright, let's play this again. We'll just put in here method 1, I guess. Save and close. Okay. Alright, so now normally it'll look like this. So if you want to have it recurring, you turn this on and let's do 10 occurrences. Okay, and I want to do it every 7 days. And then because it's new, it's going to match what's in this box. So now we hit generate occurrences. It's going to run, and it's going to bring you back here once it runs. As you can see, it created all our events. And I told it to create 10, so there's 5. There's 5 more. Why did it make 12? Well, I should have done 10. Oh no, it made 10. Okay. This is the next month, so I can only count 4 here. So I got 5 plus 9. Let's see, hold on. Okay, so we got 4 in this month, 4 in this month, and then 2 in the next. Okay, so that's right. Okay, so now if we want to go back and look at our events, you can go here. Now, in order to look at these, the way I got the rules set up, it's not going to do anything right now because we need that second screen. Okay, this is a series that got created, so in order to look at the series, I need the series screen. This only works for single events. So if we go to Christmas Day, come on. Sorry, I had to pause it again. I forgot I had to do, in order to get the individual buttons to work, I had to add the last screen, which we're going to cover in the next video. This one's already way longer than I wanted to do it. It's almost 2 hours. But when you click on a single day event, it will open up the same screen we're on. But I forgot to set something here so this resets before it saves. So that's what it should look like. So you can see it says Christmas Day. You know, I could have really easily set this to all day event because it's an all day event. You see what it does, 12:01 to 11:59, da 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 da. And the last thing we're going to do is we're going to set, we need to have a way of saving it if it's not a reoccurring, right? Because before it was using that generate button. We don't want to make an occurrence, right? We want a single event. So what we're going to have to do is you're going to insert a save button. Oops, sorry, we got to get off of that. We're going to insert a save button. So we're going to go, I'm going to use a save icon. Of course, it's going to make it gigantic. I think it defaults at 64 pixels, which is humongous compared to everything else. I don't know why this is taking so long. Okay, it showed up finally. I'm going to resize it, but it's on the wrong screen. That's awesome. So I'm going to cut this. We're going to cut this icon off of here. We're going to go to the screen we need to be on. Alright, we're going to paste it. We're going to resize it. Man, this thing's getting slower and slower. Alright, so we're going to put it up here so it's easily seen. We're going to change the font color to white so that way it okay, so now we got our save button up here. We're going to go ahead and come on, Jesus. My computer is getting slower and slower. Oops. Alright, so now we got it where we want it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go back in here and I'm going to grab the patch statement that we set up in here. Come on, computer. The longer I do this, the worse it gets. Alright, so we're going to grab this patch statement right here and I'm going to, oh my god, and I'm going to use that for the patch statement up here. Now I'm probably not going to use that whole thing, but most of the guts that's in there I'm going to use. Alright, so unselect. Now keep in mind this is only for a new single event. Okay, this is not, well, I'm going to use it for both. So the only difference going to be between the two is the fact that it's going to be, one's going to be a brand new event and the other one's going to be an edit of event. So depending on what view mode it is. So we're going to go var view. God, every couple of seconds. Equals no. So we're going to do new, and it's going to be create a new record. the event's right, start date. We don't need this because what is in the form is what we're going to use. For some reason my computer keeps like pausing every 5 seconds and I don't know why, so I apologize. Alright, so we're going to take this out. Okay. And then everything else should be good. Oops, I cut off the T in text, I guess. Alright. So basically it says if it's new, it's going to do this. And then we're going to grab. We're going to copy this. Put a comma there. Wait, actually we got to close out this. So we're going to put a record brace there. Close patch. And then we're going to go comma. And then I'll probably just go back. So it's the third line. I try to line them up just to make it simpler. Okay, and then instead of defaults here, we're going to have var select record as our record, but everything else is still going to be the same. And then we're going to close this record. Close this patch, and then close the if statement. And that's how it's going to save. So I'm going to, but I don't know, did I put reoccurring? Okay, reoccurring's in there. Okay, good. So to fix this, oh, I forgot to put my navigate in there again, like usual. So we're going to navigate, main, fade, close. Alright, so alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off reoccurring, and then oh, I ain't got nothing selected. So we're going to go back to our main screen. I'm going to open up Christmas Day. Oh, the reoccurring saved. Alright, so, or just maybe that's the thing. Alright, so we're going to go in here and let's make sure this works. And it saved it. So that concludes this video. We're going to do one more when we're going to cover the series, editing the series once it's been created, and adding more events onto the end of the series if you wish, and how to delete them as well. Now, you can go in here. No, it won't work here. When you're making a new one, you can set it up so you can modify the. Say you want to put a series together and then you want to delete them. You can put a delete icon at the end using, this item, or remove this, remove, and then a list, and then this item, and it'll remove it from the series if you want. But it's easier to do from the third screen. So I'll see you in the third series. Have a good one. See you there.